Make the most of your magical trip by avoiding these things that waste your time at Disney World. You're spending a lot of money and time to be here, so let's make the most of your happy place. Take your pictures before the park even opens. Wait, what am I talking about? Well, actually, part of the parks will open before the actual park hours begin. So, like at Magic Kingdom, for example, the park opened at 9 a.m., but you can get onto Main Street and into the Castle Hub area before that time. Now, it's usually about an hour-ish before the park's scheduled opening time. That way, before the park has even opened, you've already checked off getting some iconic pictures in front of Cinderella Castle, because you got to get those, right? I'll give you another reason why you should get to the parks early in just a moment. Now, if you're like, hey, sounds great, but this is my vacation, I'm sleeping in, no problem. But still don't waste your time trying to fight to get a picture without crowds in the background. It's not going to happen as the day gets later, but what you can do is pop off to either side of the castle and you can get an unobstructed picture of you in front of the castle with no one behind you. Oh, also, another pro tip for an amazing picture is wait until just before or just after the castle show, because they block off the walkway here through the castle, so you can get some really awesome pictures. No one in the background. Now, another way to avoid wasting time is to get here early, and not just so you can get a beautiful picture, but also so that you can maximize your time in the parks by having potentially lower wait times. One of the best ways to do this is by using the early entry perk, if that's something that applies to you. Now, morning magic hours are where you can get into any of the Disney theme parks 30 minutes early. So that can really help you save some time, especially because you'll be able to hop in line for some of the more popular attractions before most guests are even in the park. Like here at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Now, no, even though you can get into the parks early, do not just show up 30 minutes early to the parks, because people are going to rope drop morning magic hours as well. So you'll want to be in the park ready to go by the time that 30-minute window opens. Again, Magic Kingdom opened at 9 a.m. Morning magic began at 8:30, but last time I did that, we arrived here at about 8:15, 8:20, and there was already a line several people deep, especially here for Fantasyland. Oh, and that's something else to note, that not every single attraction will be open for morning magic hours, but a lot of the big ones will be. So you avoid waiting in line at the peak times and can hop on when there is a shorter wait time and avoid wasting some of your Disney day. Sounds great, right? But how do you know if you can take advantage of these morning hours? So if you're staying on Disney property at Disney Resort, you're good. Every single Disney resort can get into the parks 30 minutes early. However, even if you're not staying at Disney Resort, you might still be in luck. That's because select other resorts right now can take advantage of this perk as well, including the Swan and Dolphin and some of the Good Neighbor resorts. Those are the hotels that are near Disney Springs. Now, even if none of that applies to you, it's still helpful to get to the parks early in the morning. And that's because oftentimes those doing early morning magic are going to be going for some of the big attractions. But like I said, not every attraction is open at that time, so then you could intentionally go rope drop and hop in line some of the other attractions while there is a shorter wait time. Oftentimes, a lot of guests don't start getting into the parks until about an hour after the park opens. That seems to be the time when people start arriving. So if you can be here right at 9 o'clock or whenever that park opens, you can really take advantage of some shorter wait times and knock off a bunch of things before other people even make their way down Main Street. Let's talk about wasting time in line for rides, because that can definitely eat up a chunk of your Disney day. Now, one thing that's going to cost you money but gonna save you some time is getting Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. Now, that is a whole beast in and of itself, so I'm going to do a separate video talking about strategies and best practices for utilizing both of those. Now, it's smart before your Disney trip to take time to familiarize yourself with which are the most popular attractions and what are kind of average wait times. That way, you can go to plan your trip, which is another big time wasters. When you do not have any kind of plan, you're just kind of winging it, definitely do not do that. Have some kind of plan going into the day. Now, it's helpful because you can know what are the most popular rides and therefore what are probably going to be the longest wait times by doing a little research ahead of time. That way you are not spending your early morning road dropping Living with the Land when it really should be Frozen Ever After, because that ride's going to have a longer wait time, even though I would 100% road drop Living with the Land. Now, in order to get an idea of what are the wait times like for rides, what are the popular attractions, it's good to do some research beforehand. The My Disney Experience app, which is going to be your best friend when you're on a Disney trip, that app does have a section where it shows you what are average wait times and what are wait times for the day over in the Genie area of it. Now, I'm going to be totally honest here. I have nothing to back this up whatsoever, knowing how Disney kind of maybe tweaks wait times sometimes to push guests into other areas of the park. I would take the wait times they share on the app with a grain of salt. Again, nothing to actually back that up, but use it as one of your tools. There's also some other great online tools that are not through Disney that can help you understand things like crowd levels and wait times and which are the most popular attractions. So definitely do some Googling on that. Waiting in lines for rides at Disney is unavoidable. It's gonna happen. It's as much part of the Disney experience as Mickey-shaped snacks and making sure you don't trip over that one crack along Main Street. However, what we want to do is not waste our time. Now, Disney has given us something to help with that by introducing virtual queues. Now, the virtual queue system was introduced in 2019 with the opening of Galaxy's Edge, and it's showing no signs of slowing down in terms of being a fixture of a Disney vacation. However, it's important to have expectations around virtual queues. That way you know how to plan your Disney day and not missing out on experiences potentially and wasting time. When your group is called, it doesn't mean you're just going to jump to the front of the line and walk right on. It means that now it's time for you to wait in line. So even though often the line is much shorter than if there was no virtual queue, there is still going to be somewhat of a line. Sometimes depending on the time of day, it can be a bit of a shorter wait, but I've also had virtual queues and still waited like up to 45 minutes. So definitely keep that in mind as you're planning your day. Now, something else that can help you avoid wasting time in line is utilizing the single rider line. Now, caveat with the single rider line, not too many attractions actually offer them, and you've got to note that it's going to mean your party will be split up, so everyone in your party has to be okay/old enough to ride on their own and okay with experiencing the ride by themselves. There's one seat open, hop aboard. So right now it applies to Rock and Roller Coaster, Expedition Everest, Test Track, and Smuggler's Run. Though note, if you do it on Smuggler's Run, you're probably not going to get to be the pilot. Wow, 55-minute wait for Haunted Mansion right now. That is a long line. Now, a big part of any Disney vacation is the food. It's a highlight for me and probably for you as well, but it can also eat up some of your time. To avoid wasting time and waiting in line, use the mobile order feature on your My Disney Experience app. What's great about that is you can even plan your meals in advance. So you can go ahead, set your order, have it all done, and then select a time that you would like to pick up the order. You can go there, simply tap, I'm here, they'll start preparing the order. Oh, but that's something else to note is that the food won't be instantaneously ready at that time. It'll still take like 15 to 20-ish minutes or so, but it still saves you time versus having to just wait in line. And what's extra great about this is you can do advanced mobile ordering while you're doing other things like waiting for a show to start or even taking transportation to your next Disney park. More on that in a little bit. Oh, but if your plans change, you can always modify your mobile order as well, so you're not locked in that way. Now, since Disney food is a big priority for me, I'm all for doing table service restaurants, but know that that is going to take up some of your time as well. So if you're really looking to maximize, make sure you're doing a quick service restaurant, or even better yet, just snack your way through the day. Especially for a park like Epcot that has so many good foods, just kind of snack your way around the world. Even better if there's a food festival happening. And if even waiting in line for snacks is just too much, totally fair. I got you covered as well, because you can actually bring your own snacks into the theme parks. And with things like Amazon delivery, it makes getting groceries delivered to your resort room easier than ever. And speaking of yummy things, if you're like me, coffee is a must. While each Disney park has a Starbucks and you can get your yummy Starbucks drink there, Starbucks is always busy. You might think that's just people getting their morning caffeine, but no, it's 5:30 right now. But there are some other options. Joffrey's, though sometimes they have a line as well, can typically be shorter, but if you're really looking to not waste your time in line for coffee, there are Joffrey's locations outside of some of the theme parks like Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and at the TTC at the Magic Kingdom. Also, the resorts are really stepping up their coffee game. I got this vanilla latte at Grand Floridian this morning, but I've even seen our good old All-Stars have Joffrey's lattes available, so maybe just grab some at your resort before you get here and really save yourself some time. Now, it can be tempting as soon as you head into the park to make a beeline for the merchandise. It's right there when you walk in, one of the first things you see, and who could blame you? This stuff's adorable. Oh, it's lovely. But consider instead doing your shopping at the end of the day. That's because select areas of the park also stay open past official park closing time. And so while things like the rides and food and other park activities close at the park closing hour, the flagship merchandise locations will stay open for about an hour after the park closes. So while the gift shops will be a little bit busier because there'll be more people kind of congregating in that area of the park, this can help you maximize your precious time at the parks. But if you don't want to wait till the end of the night, still don't waste your time waiting in line for merchandise. You can tap into your My Disney Experience app and use the mobile checkout to make the process even quicker. All you have to do is connect to your credit card, scan what you want to buy. Once you've made your purchase, you'll show the confirmation QR code to the cast member at the designated exit area on your way for more of your Disney day. That rhymed. Now, there is so much to see and do at Disney World. That's why we love it, right? There's always a new experience to be had between the 4 parks, Disney Springs, all the resorts. There's so much going on. But along with having all of these amazing things to explore is the time it takes to actually explore them. Now, you need to factor in transportation because that can be a huge waste of time. Waiting for Disney buses with the monorail, sometimes you have to transfer to different monorails. There's a transfer station for some of the Skyliners, so definitely budget in way more time than you think you're going to need for getting places on Disney property. That's going to be especially crucial if you have dining reservations. Oh, and especially crucial if you're coming to Magic Kingdom. Unless you're coming from a Disney bus, you're going to have to go through the Ticket and Transportation Center, which can definitely be a big amount of your time because you're going to have to take a tram over from the parking lot and then you're going to have to monorail or ferry boat. Also, if you are staying at a resort that has Disney transportation or you're doing an Uber or a Lyft, they're still going to drop you off at the Ticket and Transportation Center, so you're going to have to factor that in to arriving at Magic Kingdom. However, there is one mode of transportation that will get you to Magic Kingdom and save you time in the process. That's a minivan. However, if you're doing a minivan, while expensive, it will save you some time because they can drop you off at the front of parks. This way you don't have to wait for Disney transportation, especially if you are park hopping or needing to get somewhere quickly. Plus, it's a really cute, fun way to have a different Disney experience, which we're all about here on this channel. Now, something else that really wastes your time at Disney World is not knowing what's going on between ride closures and refurbishments. That can really put a damper on your Disney day, which is why I created this video here going through everything that's happening in 2024 so that you can stay up to date and have the most magical trip ever. I'll meet you on Main Street.